Welcome, 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 everyone. I'm your host, Khadija Torbert, and this is Stillman College's fourth annual MLK Legacy Art Walk. What a pleasure it is to honor the life and activism of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And caught between colliding pressures of a pandemic, political unrest, and outcries for social justice, this MLK Art Walk is like no other year before. It's virtual, as you can see. So please comment, share on your feed right now. We want to get this interactive. We have four amazing artists to introduce to you all that we will get into in just a few minutes. But I have to introduce the visionary of this whole event to you guys, and that is Stillman College's President, Dr. Cynthia Warwick. And a little bit about Dr. Warwick. She is the 7th president and the first woman to lead Stillman College, a historically Black liberal arts college right here in Tuscaloosa with over 20 years of higher education and faculty administrative positions. Dr. Warwick received her PhD in environmental science and policy at George Mason University after completing the master's public policy at Georgia Tech and the bachelor's pharmacy degree from Howard University. She began her academic career with the pharmacy school faculty at Howard, followed by appointments at the University of Texas Houston Health Center, Texas Southern University, Florida A&M University, and Elizabeth City State University. Prior to her selection as president of Stillman, she served as interim president of Grambling State University and South Carolina State University. Dr. Warwick is a lifetime member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and serves on the boards of the United Way of West Alabama, the West Alabama Chamber of Commerce, the Tuscaloosa County Industrial Development Authority, the Tuscaloosa County Preservationist Society, the Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama, and the Tuscaloosa Rotary Club. So she is a very, very busy, prominent woman. She is and also very proud of her children and family members' accomplishments, who represent 17 HBCUs. So let's bring Dr. Warwick onto the stream to introduce her and to basically give us why she wanted to implement this awesome art walk this year. Dr. Warwick.
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are. But we're very excited about continuing the MLK Legacy Art Walk. This will be our 4th year that we host different artists on campus. And now that we couldn't because of the pandemic, we decided to bring all of the artists that have been part of Stillman College's art walk and art programs to you today so we can celebrate them and celebrate Martin Luther King and the legacy at Stillman College in the arts. And I'm excited that you're all here to listen and learn about these outstanding artists who are African Americans, who've been in the art field for many years. And we're just so pleased that they were able to participate in this virtual art walk this year. So thank you all for joining us. I'm excited about hearing their stories and how they got started and hearing how Martin Luther King impacted their lives and the lives of our community. So thank you so much, Ms. Talbert, for serving as our mistress of ceremonies for this virtual art walk, and I'm excited and ready to go.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Warwick. And we're about to just take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to bring on the first artist. All right, that was the Blue Pride Marching Tigers. If that did not get you excited, I don't know what will. I know they kind of got me energetic and ready to introduce the next featured artist, or the first featured artist, rather. And before I do that, I just want to read a quick quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it says, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." And that is what this next artist definitely has done throughout her whole life. It is Miss Cynthia St. James. Just a little bit about her. She is a world-renowned multicultural visual artist and award-winning author, illustrator of 17 children's books, several poetry and affirmation books, a cookbook, a play, a monologue, and 2 marketing books. In her latest book, Living My Dream, the 50th anniversary celebration, Cynthia shares her creative journey. Her postage stamps were also, she created artwork for postage stamps in 1997 and 2006. And her paintings also graced the cover of 75 books, including the original artwork cover of Terry McMillan's Waiting to Excel. So let's bring Miss Cynthia St. James onto the feed to just tell us a little bit about her journey.
Hey, for you it's afternoon. To me, it's still morning here in Los Angeles. It's a pleasure to meet you. I want to first say I had so much fun last year coming out to Stillman College for the artwork and being the featured artist, Dr. Warwick. I want her to definitely know that remains in my heart. My journey has been well, let's put it this way. Let's start here. I knew I wanted to be an artist when I grew up since I was 5. And I knew that. And I can't explain exactly how a child that young knows, but I believe a lot of children really know what they want to do at a very early age. So it wasn't just about fun and coloring. Somewhere in there, I really wanted that to be the focus of my life. So that's how I started, in a sense. That's what the creator let me know that I was supposed to be doing that. I saw my first painting when I was 20 in New York. And sometimes I have to figure out, that was almost 52 years ago, because next month I'll be 72. Ooh. So almost 52 years ago.
Good, Miss James.
And I actually was an accounts receivable clerk in New York for a mortgage insurance company. My first painting was commissioned by one of our lawyers who was a closer for mortgages. And from that commission from Daniel Fishman, co-workers began commissioning me. And it kind of spread. So at 20, I was a professional artist, but I still always had a job. So I had jobs through most of my life, every kind of field you can think of, from accounting, of course, record business, to a little bit of acting, to you name it, I did it. And I would say in the 90s is when it became more full-fledged, because I had the chance to do children's books, book covers, and all of those other things that supplemented my income when I wasn't actually selling paintings or prints.
What do you think, what do you see like the role of the responsibility of like your artwork is to today's society?
Well, I feel like I've always felt this way, that it being a gift from the creator, it's something that comes with responsibility. So for me, the responsibility is not only to paint, but to share and to use that to uplift others and to raise funds and income for others.
I love that. I definitely love that. And I know a lot is going on in today's society now, from within the Black community with Black Lives Matter protests, of course, the COVID-19 vaccine, and of course, the election of the first African American president or female vice president elect. How has your artwork kind of exuded just different things throughout history?
I've always been, only about 2 years ago did I realize that I was a visual historian. I never really gave myself that label, and I'm not quite doing that now. I have a lot of labels, but I realized it, even for the 50th anniversary of the Dream, I created a painting that was unveiled in California at the state capitol. How Long, Not Long was something for the 50th anniversary of the Selma March. It was something I wanted to do before I even knew that we were going to have Selma. I didn't even know the film. So it kind of coincide. So things hit me as they hit me.
Mhm.
Um, what's going on for me since March is I've created a whole series of healers, orishas, shamans, and deities because I feel that my art is healing and I want it to be even more powerfully healing and uplifting during this period. Um, for Kamala being the first female vice president, Black, and all of everything that she is. I created the painting, which is behind me, called Kamala, Protectress of the People.
Oh,
So I did a special piece commemorating that for her and my strong excitement about that whole thing.
that is so. And since you
Yeah.
did mention the artwork behind you, can you give a little bit of detail about each of them behind you, if you can?
Well, well, you see her holding the torch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's Kamala, and it reflects her African, her Jamaican, and her African American heritage, and East Indian. All of that is within in that piece. Um, everything is including her AKA affiliation. There's her colors within the torch, and her blue and white for Howard University. So I pretty much covered a lot of it. Behind me are other multicultural pieces, my Tibetan monks pieces, a piece on my from my Haitian series, and the other one with the bright sky is called Brand New Day, and that's how I look at this year. It's going to be our brand new day.
Yes, I received that. I received that.
Yes, yes.
I love that. What do you think is the true legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King as we just go through this year of 2021? What makes this year just so much more significant of realizing his dream?
Well, we have to just go back and say a lot of things went backwards. Steps went backwards. We've got to reaffirm that legacy and that vision and make it so and continue to make it so consciously every day in any kind of way we can.
That's awesome. I do agree that we definitely need to take steps moving forward, which is why I love that quote before you jumped on about whatever you do, keep moving forward. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about just even though MLK said that like over 60 years ago, how it's still prominent today that we just have to keep moving forward as a Black community.
Yes, we do. And we keep new generations. There's generations and generations. We have to always have that in focus, not in any negative way, in a very positive way, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah, self-powering.
I love that. And you mentioned that you painted artwork for, well, actually, I mentioned it for Waiting to Excel. Can you talk a little bit about that? I feel like you were most known for that piece, among other
Oh,
things.
yeah, that what was out one of the things that was outstanding about that is that Terry McMillan actually got in contact with me and asked to use that piece. That
Wow.
was an existing. She had the reproduction in her home of the piece. She didn't have the original, but she was dissatisfied with the book cover that the art director at that time had, and she decided that she wanted this one. So she went for it. And she got my number and she called me and it happened. And that book cover is amazing because it's was licensed by six to seven other countries in the world. All came to me to license that cover. It's even in Japan. It was in Japan, and Japan made part one and part two. So they had two different books and they changed up the colors a little bit of that cover. Yeah.
That is truly incredible. Wow. So we have a lot of people kind of tuned in right now. So what would you tell the audience about how to get involved with your art if they wanted to just take a look at all the different portraits and artwork that you've done?
It would be hard because there's so much, there's a lot of years. But I would say the first thing to do would be to go to my website and you'll see a lot. You'll see at least 120 pieces, and you'll see prints, you'll see limited edition G clays on canvas, and you'll see originals. And I want them to know that today, if anyone goes on and purchases anything today, I'm donating 25% of that to Stillman College.
Wow.
So I think that's very important. That would be in a way to affirm as well, and to support our HBCUs. other than that, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, you could go, I even have a Wikipedia page that has all of this list of, it's unending list of things. But sometimes when I want to find out more about what's out there, I Google myself and all
Oh,
of this stuff comes up. And I want to also say that I did, during this period, put together a healing book, which is called The Healing Art. It was actually called Healers, Orishas, Shamans, and Deities. The Healing Art of Cynthia St. James. You won't be able to see it good, but if anybody wanted to, just inside of here are this size, 12 of the deities are in here, full size, enough that you could actually frame them.
wow.
And
And can you repeat that title one more time for people who can't necessarily?
it's I'm healers, orishas, shamans, and deities. And the easiest thing to do is just go on Amazon.com. If they put in my name, it'll pop up. They don't have to remember the title, but they can put in my name and that will come up.
That's awesome. Awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are writing that down right now to go to Amazon. And I see a comment. Miss Cheryl Renty said, Miss St. James forever fabulous. So somebody
How sweet, Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl.
and somebody else said, Miss Watkins said, beautiful work, Miss Cynthia St. James. So you definitely have a big audience from people.
Oh, that's sweet. That means the world. You know,
And I
that really means the world.
you are giving back to Stillman College. Can you talk a little bit about basically paying it forward and definitely to HBCUs and different things in the Black community that you contribute to?
Oh my God. There's so many different things. I've been involved with so many nonprofit organizations. I've done signature pieces for so many organizations. I've done, sometimes I have to try to remember, I believe it's 13 paintings, the majority of those for colleges and universities, HBCUs, for presidents, for their inaugurations.
Wow.
Yeah, I have at least, at least 10 HBCU paintings that were commissioned. So they're in the different colleges, and a lot of them are still creating funds by selling the prints that were made. So when they're selling the prints, the money comes into into the universities. Yeah.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So Alabama State is one. Alabama State is one of the ones. Yeah. Uh, yeah. And Benedict
Mhm.
College. Oh God, it's just, I can't even begin to tell you. And the very first one I did was for St. Augustine's University.
Mhm.
Is where I received my honorary doctorate, because that's where I did a lot of artisan residencies, like a couple of weeks staying on campus, actually across the street in the house, and also doing some Skype teaching for that college for years.
Oh, that is awesome. What
Yeah.
what would one last thing you would say just about this art walk? And it is in a virtual format this year, but what do you say just about just continuing the legacy on and putting it on no matter what?
Unlike this, I'm just so happy that Dr. Warwick is there and she decided that nothing's going to stop this, because this is very important
Mhm.
to the artists, the art community, and showing appreciation to the art. Because a lot of people, if you really think about it, a lot of the time, us as artists, we're in our studios painting. We don't see a lot of people on purpose because we're in there painting. I say knee deep in paints. So to get feedback and recognition is one of the very most important things. My what I hold closest as my as an award really was the Trumpet Award, because that's civil rights. And to date, I was the only painter to ever receive that. So that was to me very monumental. That's one of them. Yeah. So that's a civil rights award.
That is awesome. And I want to read a comment that says Cynthia St. James made the artwork for last year's MLK Legacy Art Walk, and Stillman still have signed copies available for sale. So if anyone out there has a copy, they can get it, your artwork, and it's still for sale.
And there's great reproductions too. The color quality is great. Yeah.
And I
So
have
that'll help Stillman too.
also, I have to read Dr. Warwick's comment. She said, we gave our granddaughter the print you signed at Stillman last year, and we have to start our young people early to appreciate African American art. That is so true.
Yes. There are our future, period. And for artists, there are future collectors.
That is beautiful. Children, thank you so much. We're just talking a little bit with us, Miss St. James. Is there anything else you want to say or tell the audience before we let you go?
Well, just keep a positive attitude, and we'll get through this. We get through everything. That's how we were created, right?
Amen.
Powerful people.
Yes, ma'am, we are. Thank you so much, and we love your artwork. And thank you so much for chatting with us.
Okay, and thank you for including me.
And before we go to the next artist, we'll just take a brief commercial break and let Miss St. James go.
Stillman's been doing a lot to make changes, and I feel this is a great place to re-enroll. UA, as huge as it was, that with my autism, I feel like it overwhelmed me. But with Stillman, it's more compact, and I feel that's a big improvement. It's much easier for me to settle in.
They came to us and said, "Can we take classes here?" And we said, "Absolutely. We would love to have you." The thing that I think has prepared me most to work with arts and autism has been arts and autism, is because I know that I have a support system. So if there's anything that I'm curious about or that I'm worried about or that I just want to talk more about or get more information, I have resources at Arts and Autism, and they will throw the doors wide open and make anything happen.
That's how I got started with Arts and Autism. It showed me how many possibilities that I am able to achieve, and learning how to make new friends and getting to learn about different arts people make and how they make it out of clay.
What has your experience been at Stillman?
I'd say it's been a pretty fruitful experience. It's given me more options in terms of, what I like and don't like, and those things that I didn't really know so much about.
How has this program, Arts and Autism, how has that impacted your life?
Oh, well, I probably had some emotional issues, but I got some stuff to make sure that I don't have that anymore.
Me as a 31-year-old who's dropped out and had to leave UA, but Stillman here is like, hey, we'll give you another shot. Why not? I feel like that only encourages more people like me to try, because it happens to a lot of autistic children that they'll get out, they'll find their independence, but then they'll get overwhelmed because they don't have that support system. But with this, it shows that you do have a support system, and that can help so much, and it won't discourage so many kids on the spectrum to not try. But this shows that it can work, and that's why I'm fully behind it, and I believe that it'll only continue to grow.
College. Welcome back, everyone. This is the 4th annual Stillman College Legacy Art Walk virtually. Welcome back, you guys. I'm going to read a short little quote again from Dr. Martin Luther King before we bring in the next artist. This says, "Not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because greatness is determined by service. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." So as you think on that quote, I'm going to introduce the next featured artist, and he is Frank Frazier. He began his work as a fine artist early at the age of 7, guys. Yes, 7 years old. He was creating paintings in his family's Harlem, New York City home. He now lives in Texas, where he works on several paintings, a series of paintings on the civil rights movement. He recently completed a road trip to various southern cities that were pivotal to the struggle of equal rights, that was located in Jackson, Mississippi, to Birmingham, Alabama, to Selma, to Tuskegee. This statesman of art was never motivated by money, so that was not the motive for him when producing his art. The love of Black history and culture and the creation was his driving force. And as we bring in Mr. Frazier, I have to ask him about this quote that he sent that I can't wait to dive into. So let's welcome on Mr. Frank Frazier. How are you doing, sir?
I'm happy to be here. I'm here with some other artists because I always have other artists around me. They feed into my energy. And I want to thank the doctor and you and all of y'all for having me here. Thank you.
We are so glad to have you. I wanted to start with this quote that you sent that you kind of dropped some wisdom on us early, and it reads, when life gets you down and you feel no one is helping you achieve your goals, remember this. Even when somebody has their foot up, you're behind, you are still in front. You can still make it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, that's the way I've always felt. I'm still out front there doing what I got to do, even when it's negative. But I've really been blessed. I mean, I'm being blessed just sitting here right now. I ain't no youngster. I'm 77 years old. I'll be 78, in 3 months. I am blessed. I'm happy to be here. And I do like selling some art every now and then because that keeps me motivated. And it also helps those children. I got a lot of great grandchildren, grandchildren, and all that. I'm just happy as to be here. Thank you.
I love your spirit. I really do. Let's talk about the series of paintings for the civil rights movement. Can you talk about those?
Well, right this very moment, right now, I don't know how to show all this shit. Let me see if stop. I'm sorry. See if I can. Can y'all see this? Help me, somebody.
You're currently in your gallery right now, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Can y'all see this piece?
Oh, yes, I see Jordan and Breonna Taylor.
No, can you see the piece with?
Here we go.
I'm trying to do this. Oh, hey, that piece there. Y'all know what that is, right?
Talk to us a little bit about it.
Look at it. No, look at it.
I'm looking. Is this
good?
The Capitol riots?
That's last week.
Yes, at the Capitol, correct?
Now, a lot of people get offended by my title, but I have to play on my title because I was raised in the hood. And the title of it is, they ain't gonna blame that shit on no niggas.
Okay, we have a picture of it now for everyone to see, so we see it clearly. Mr. Fraser, you're muted. Can you unmute for me? I think you muted yourself. Can you unmute for me?
You know, okay, we back on. A lot of people don't understand why the flag is upside down. And I wasn't going to put it in there first, but my wife said, why are you not putting the flag in? So I put it in. When the ship is at sea and there's a problem, the flag is upside down because there's distress. And that's how I feel about what's going on in the Capitol right now, because it ain't over.
And how long have you been working on this painting? I guess since the riots occurred. Is that?
I started on it 2 days after the riot. 2 days after, and it keeps changing. I started adding more flags to it. If you look hard, you'll see different flags. If you look real hard, you'll see people holding rifles too, because they had them there too. That's about it. But the main thing is, this is shoe polish.
Mm-hmm.
Because back in the 20s and 30s, white men used to take shoe polish to paint their faces and make fun of us. But what a lot of folks don't know, shoe polish was also liquid, and it had a little brush in it. And that's the same kind of brush the Ku Klux Klan would use to do KKK. That's it. Go with some more.
Oh, I mean, that's definitely a powerful piece you have there. Do you have any more visuals we can see or pull up and you can explain them for us?
We got the John Lewis Bridge.
Here you go.
Okay, we're looking at one, Mr. Fraser. So if you can look at your laptop, you can explain this piece for. Yes, sir. We have it right there.
That was I think that was just a civil rights move. But we want you to look at this piece of, the bridge in Selma. I did a piece on the bridge, and the title of it is, "What the hell we waiting for? When we gonna change the name?" And we're talking about changing the name to John Lewis. Do y'all see the piece?
The bridge. Yes, that is powerful. Yes.
Again, that's shoe polish. And if you look real hard, there he go. That's John Lewis there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we just simply want to change the name. And I always try to put in our flag, because we do have a flag too.
I love that. I love that. How long did it take to create that one?
I don't know. I just started on it. A lot of it, I go to those places first. It doesn't take me long to do a piece of work. It's more up here than anything else. Remember, it's shoe polish. It dries quick.
So when did you dabble into the shoe polish painting? Because I know you served in the Vietnam War, and that's kind of where you discovered that you were just blessed with the talent of painting. So is that when you discovered painting with the polish?
Now, the shoe polish didn't come until about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was in a little second-hand store, and there was an old bottle of shoe polish. One of these.
Mm-hmm.
Young folks don't know nothing about this. This is, see, matter of fact, I use this one here so much that the brush is gone. See the little, used to be a little brush on the end. So I had to start using the new shoe polish. And for you people out there that like to talk about me in my work sometime, I put Indian ink in the shoe polish so it'll last forever.
Wow.
Now I have some other artists here visiting with me, and one of them is Don, sitting right here. Say something to him.
Yeah.
I always take other artists with me. Always. That's Don.
Hey guys, can you introduce yourself a little?
My name is Don O'Bannon.
And how is it learning underneath Mr. Frazier?
Well, it's been absolutely wonderful. I mean,
They saying that to be nice.
This is my second career. So Frank inspired me to pursue this avocation. Like all of these guys, I wanted to be an artist since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, as they say.
And that's Herschel, the young one.
And then Herschel and is behind us.
I always have young artists with me.
How are you doing? So I started painting about 10 years ago at age 50 or so, and been painting ever since.
He's still young to me.
Well, Mr. Frazier, you bring these artists, kind of bring them underneath your wing. Can you talk about that and kind of why you like to do that and give back to the Black?
It's a simple story. I won't give the name because I promised I wouldn't. Many years ago, when I was real young, not that young, I went to a very prominent Black artist, and I asked him, "Will you help me?" He said, "I'll get back to you." He never got back to me. But I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna figure out who it was. I'm gonna tell you something about that artist. I'm talking about real famous. About 5 years later, I was running a poor little Black gallery in New York. He came to me because he needed a book show for his new book, which I'm not going to mention his name, which came out to be a great book. And I said, when I asked for help, you told me you'd get back. You never got back. So I made a promise to myself that I would always help my Black artists, male and female, any way I can. And it's been a blessing for me. Plus, I get a kick out of it when I sell a piece of their work. I sold that shit for you. I get a kick out of it, and it's good. I've been blessed.
That means you have really great influence. That's what that means, Mr. Frazier.
Sometimes.
Well, what do you think is the true legacy of MLK, and how is that portrayed like through your artwork?
I did a piece on Dr. King somewhere around here, and I made his arm a little extra bigger because what folks don't realize, he was trying to reach out and help everybody. Somebody just wanted to pick up. See, this is another reason I got these young people around. They can go get this stuff. Here it is.
Okay.
That's Dr. King. Y'all all know when that was. But again, the flag is upside down. Remember the reason why. Because he knew that it ain't done yet.
Wow.
He will put it back.
I love that.
Too.
Well, how can people in the audience kind of get to know your artwork a little bit more? Can you tell us about a site or where they can find your artwork?
I don't have a website because I don't do a lot of prints. Most of my work is original, and I'm comfortable. Money ain't that important when you get old, so I'm all right. All you got to do is put my name in, and the work will show up. But there's 3 schools that I will always help. Because all y'all folks, well, not y'all, a lot of y'all folks that forget about some of these other black schools that's in the South, like Paul Quinn, Texas State, and Perryview. Y'all forget about them when y'all talk all this stuff. But I want you to let you know they exist. And I do a lot of work with them. Plus, when I'm not doing this, I'm with the Tom Joyner Foundation. I've been with them for 14 years. I go on the cruise, I do sell art and get half the money to it. And I'm going to continue that when we start back again. Power to the people.
Wow, wow. You have a comment from Miss Vanessa. She said, "Welcome, Frank. Remember our great days at the African American Museum in Dallas, Texas. Thanks for supporting my alma mater, spring of 1992."
Oh, I don't know. I'll be meeting so many people. I don't remember. And I give people funny names, like this young lady that I've been working with. My wife fussed at it the other day. In fact, I was sending her something in the mail. I call her Buck because she has buck teeth. And my wife keeps fussing at me. But so I don't remember if so if they give me their real name, I don't know who they are. But thank you, whoever it was.
Yes, you have another comment from Mr. Gilbert. He said, "That is so true. The fight is not over. We must continue to fight for justice for African Americans." And, through your portraits and your artwork, you can definitely see that you are fighting for African Americans.
And well, I mean, the other thing that's this, see, y'all didn't even see the slave shit. I have a big thing about the slave shit because we don't talk about the slave shit. See, not only did this come over with slaves on it, but see, a lot of them women were raped by them white men, and that's how we ended up being the way we are too. That's true polish too. You see why I got these young people here? They can go and pick this stuff up.
That's true.
And if you start looking at them, you can't tell it from here. But if you're looking at it real good, there's symbols in there because that's what they brought to this country with them. And here's another thing, because I don't have a great education like some of these are. Some of these are, they can talk, I don't even know what the hell they be talking about. But anyway, what I did so I wouldn't have a big problem, I went to Africa.
Wow.
I've been to Africa over 100 times because I had to learn and understand what I'm really doing and where I'm coming from. That's why I made trips all over the country to all of those slave places and all of that and all of those civil rights places. I've been to all of them. John Lewis was my friend. I took him around New York City a couple of times. I've been blessed. And the sister that's running that college there, she's a good sister. Not only she does this here, her checks are good. She supports her. She don't be talking the shit. She walk it. She write that check out, and that helps us too. Thank you.
Awesome. And another comment from Miss Shannon. It says, "I feel like Mr. Frazier is a font of knowledge. I didn't know about the upside down flag. So you were definitely educating people today."
That's what I do. But you got to look at Don's work before he leaves.
Okay.
You got to look at it. Here, take it over there. I don't know how to do all that stuff.
That piece is Breonna Taylor, and that piece is called "Justice Denied." I have another icon from this period.
George Floyd. That is powerful as well. Wow.
I have another piece which I call Mississippi Due Process, which is, you can't really tell, but these images are lynchings. And this is a copy of all of the lynchings in Mississippi between 1880 and 1944. About 521 lynchings, according to the NAACP. Blacks were lynched during that time period. So those are 3 of the pieces I chose to bring and show. Now, and here's Herschel Walker. Herschel. I'm sorry. Herschel. Okay, here you go. Let me see if I can position it so you can see this. It's a big piece.
Well, this is a piece. How you doing? This is a piece titled Angel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a large piece. Can you see it?
That is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do quite a lot of different work. So, but Frank right now is reaching for the computer. So it's nice to meet you. Nice to show you my work.
Nice to meet you.
And it's real important for me.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes. It's real important for me to try to introduce other artists any way I can.
O'Bannon Studios, www.o'bannonstudios.com. If you're interested in looking at any of my pieces.
Say that one more time for us.
What'd you say?
One more time for us. Can you say that website?
O'Bannon Studios, OBANNON Studios.com.
Awesome. And we definitely like that you pay your success forward, Mr. Frazier. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
To the young artist.
People, support Black art. Black Lives Matter. Bye.
Awesome. And we are about to go to another commercial break. Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
What?
Cold hand, sharp pencil. I scribble the stanza as my hands are trembling. Grade 7 made heaven out of words. I began to build a world that only I inhabit. I got a habit of rapping about tragic. I think I'm just passionate, trying to steer the way while in the dark. Hope I ain't crashing it. Now my little hobby turned to cash now. Thinking about who I'd be if I listen to doubt. Said I never do it, well look at me now. Young girl, oh dream, oh soul, oh dear. Plan B, plan well, good luck, no fear. Just wait and God will tell you when the time's near. But if I never jump, then I die here. It don't ride till you pick up speed. They think college is all you need. And I don't blame you brainwashing on you, G. It took me 19 years to finally start to believe. And that's me, listen. I'ma make it in the rain or shine. All about my money, don't waste my time. Ain't nobody gonna bring me down. I'm on an elevator. I'm on to something greater. Ain't nobody gonna take my crown. Okay, I'ma make it in the rain or shine. All about my money, don't waste my time. Ain't nobody gonna bring me down. I'm on an elevator. I'm on to something greater. Ain't nobody gonna take my crown.
And this is welcome back, everyone. This is the 4th annual MLK Legacy Arc Walk with Stillman College. We are so glad that you are still with us. And before I bring on the next artist, I'm going to start with another quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It says, "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." And that's definitely what this next featured artist did. He goes by the name of Steve R. Allen. He's an artist recognized internationally for his bold use of color and ability to create myriad styles. He has traveled extensively internationally with his work. His work hangs in world capitals and many prestigious art collections from Athens, Greece to Belgium, China. As an official artist of the U.S. Olympic Committee, his work was appeared at 8 Olympic Games, you guys. And in 2013, he was also honored with the Smithsonian Museum. And we'll get into that a little bit as we introduce Mr. Steve R. Allen. Let's bring him forward. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm really pleased to be here. I thank Dr. Warwick for inviting me to be a part of this.
Oh, we are so glad to have you. I know I already just said it a few minutes ago. Your artwork appeared in 8 Olympic Games. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I was, my first one was here in Atlanta. I was the official artist for the Centennial Olympic Games, the singularly honored in the world with that one. I did an 80 feet by 28 feet mural. After that, I've been in Sydney, Salt Lake, Athens, Torino, Beijing.
Wow.
London, Toronto, Vancouver, that type of stuff.
Wow. You were just breezing over it so effortlessly, but that is a major deal that an African-American male was featured 8 times. His artwork was featured 8 times in the U.S. Olympics. That is a tremendous accomplishment, Mr. Allen.
And, you know, as part of that, 2 of the piece I did for Athens and the one I did for Torino are in the Smithsonian National Museum of African-American History and Culture. Part of the, what do you call it? Founding and permanent collection. Yeah.
Wow. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's also major. I had an opportunity to go to the museum, I believe 2 years ago when my brother graduated from his master's, but it is such a beautiful museum. But can you talk about your artwork within it?
Yeah. Excuse me.
You're fine.
Actually, the 4 of my original paintings are there, as well as official USOC Olympic posters for, again, for Torino and Athens. And then also for the Bayou Classic, we were, dealing with HBCUs. I created the look of the game for the 40th Bayou Classic. And so that artwork is also part of the collection for the museum.
Talk to us. I bet there is a young artist right now listening to us and like, wow, I want to be where you are one day and to have my artwork displayed literally all over the world internationally. So can you talk to us about your journey and just some advice to them?
I got started very late. I never went to school for art. I got started at 38 years old. The boss wasn't talking right, and I gave the boss's job back. Went to the unemployment office, and literally that afternoon I started painting. Wow. And like about 2 years later, I was 3 years, I was the official artist for the Centennial Games. I gave away a lot of stuff. I knew I say you work with people who can help you, okay, and help push forward what you were trying to do. That story that Mr. Frazier was relaying a few minutes ago about reaching out for help and people getting back to you, I have similar stories. So what I do now through my foundation, the Steve R. Allen Foundation, is I work with young people, young artists, and exposure. And I actually do that internationally. I do it in Brazil. I've done it in DR Congo. I do it here in the United States, and that's my give back, because I was little. I didn't know any artists at all, and but with this platform that I have now, I try to share it as much as I can.
That's good, and that's basically like, one, you're never too young or too old to start a new career and to succeed in it. So that's a wonderful testimony within itself of that accomplishment. We do have a comment though. It says, what was it like to work on an 80-foot long mural? And I believe it was the Uniting Colors of the World one that she's talking about. Yes,
that was the for the Centennial Olympic Game. I had never done a painting bigger than 30 by 40 inches. Okay, so that's where that education came into account. How am I going to do this? Scale, 1 foot, 1 inch, And so I created the piece. It was actually a series of panels, 4 feet by 8 foot panels. And I never saw the piece together until we unveiled it. But I was able to do that mathematically, and and that's how it came out. It came out nice.
Well, it did. It definitely did for the Olympics. I saw a comment earlier from Dr. Warwick, and she said that you were actually the first artist featured in the first ever art walk, and to come back 3 years later to also now be featured again virtually. What have you seen, just the progression of the art walk and just remembering Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy?
Well, I have to. Whenever I'm honored to be here, truly. And like I say, a lot of times when I'm a part of things like this, with the introductions, it's hard. I have to wrap my head around the fact that they are talking about me. You mentioned Dr. King. One of the pieces in the Smithsonian, the name of the piece is Freedom Journey, he is featured in that piece. And actually, to my knowledge, it's the only representational painting of Dr. King and President Obama in the collection at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I recognize totally, if not for the work and sacrifice of him and others like him, by living in Atlanta, I've had the opportunity to meet many of the civil rights icons, Dr. Vivian, who just passed last year, Representative John Lewis, who just passed, Reverend Lowry, quite a few. And I recognize and acknowledge my debt to the work that they put forth with that. And so as part of what I do, working with young people, but now I've been blessed to do it internationally as well. And so that's, I'm very mindful. That's a word that Mom and them used to use all the time, be mindful. I'm very mindful when I go to these places. Me as the African-American Black man representing the United States. Oh, and then, you in the Smith, you in the, what?
Whoa.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very mindful of that and thankful for the sacrifices, not just the ones that we know, but many of the people that we don't know. I'm mindful and thankful, so grateful for that.
And kind of, I know you said it a little bit earlier, but what is just some advice to give just a young artist or somebody in their 30s or 40s who's like, wow, my passion has always been art? Like, what would be the first step that you would just tell them to kind of like go for it, to actually do it?
The first step, again, I started at 38 years old. Okay, the first step was, okay, I'm going to take the first step. I just started painting. If you don't start, and it's always, I'm fixing to, and seek out. That's why I say I'm always available. It's easy to contact me, and I will share a lot of things I had to learn on my own. I didn't know how to get a print done. Okay, I didn't even know how to get an image photographed. All of this practical knowledge that over these 28 years now, that I've been able to accumulate this knowledge, I'm more than willing to share, and I do it all the time. And it's easy to find me. You can Google me. I'm on Facebook. Even to see more of my work. The website of mine, I feature more of the foundation and my working with the young people than I do so much trying to generate income through prints and whatnot. In fact, I don't do a lot of prints at all. Very few of my pieces I've done. But I'm doing all right. I'm eating,
Yes, I definitely, I love that you that the success you have, you like to bring it forward. So how has just last year 2020, how has that kind of impacted your artwork with things going on with Black Lives Matter, COVID, pandemic, all of that? Has that impacted your work at all?
I've been able to do more now. I was in Brazil when COVID broke out. Okay, and I was almost, I won't say trapped, because I love Brazil and working with our brothers and sisters down there. I was doing some master classes there and working with young people as well and college students, things like that. Now, I appreciate the being able to travel and do as I was before, and so there's a pent up urging, and I will be as soon as it's safe to travel. Resume. Dr. Warwick and I had spoken when I was at Stillman a few years ago about my coming back. I'm looking forward to doing that, and also as part of the work of the foundation, I'm looking to share my collection with some of our HBCUs. Okay.
So that was like a little hint of what's to come.
Yes.
I like it. I like it. That is awesome. And I just wanted to also, if people at home were wondering, like, is this like a picture behind him? Is it real? Is it not? That is actually Mr. Allen's very own artwork. Can you talk a little bit about the painting behind you?
The name of this piece is Mwasi Yakumu Iolade. It's the language is Lingala from DR Congo. In fact, back in 2006, I was appointed cultural ambassador to the U.S. from Congo. So, Ambassador Allen.
I like it.
Yeah. This is part of a series called the Yami Ajay series. And what it is the elevation of Black women as the depiction, rather, as goddesses and the stellar people that Black women are. I truly recognize that. I truly appreciate that. And so this is what this piece here is about. Very complex piece. And I've actually, this is the mother painting for some of my other multimedia work that I've done. Taking a piece here, designing patterns out of that. It's amazing. Plus, I love working with patterns, mathematical things. I was going to school for electrical engineering. That was my major in college. But then I got sidetracked. The children have to eat, you know. But that's what this piece is.
I love
it. It's easy enough to find it. Just Google it. It'll pop up.
That's honestly like a very vibrant and gorgeous painting that you have. I know you must be so proud that we have now our first female vice president, African American elect. Like, how does that make you feel? And kind of will that kind of be portrayed maybe in the future of some artwork?
I've already created a pattern, geometric thing. It's called Kamala, okay? And it's in the colors of her sorority. So we'll be, I've created a line of clothing. We are partnering with an organization in the Democratic Republic of the Congo to introduce it there, but also to bring it here. So that's what I've been doing also since COVID.
You are a man of many hats, a great artist, and truly like an inspiration for everyone in the community and in the world of artists. So thank you so much for joining us and for just telling us a little bit about yourself. And I know you mentioned the foundation, but is there anywhere else that people can find your work or to purchase any of your paintings?
Like Cynthia was saying earlier, you can Google my name. I'm on some of these Fine Arts America, this, that, the other. But if you go to the foundation, I've created a line of mugs, okay?
Yes.
And this is one of my, in fact, this is part of the piece from in the Smithsonian. So to support the foundation, you can purchase those cups there. And I guess now I need to, well, not I guess now, we'll be expanding what will be offered there. Okay, line of merchandise, again, clothing, this type of thing, and all of the proceeds will be going to further the work of the foundation. But you can just Google me, Steve R. Allen Artist, on online, and a lot of my stuff pops up. Like Cynthia was saying a while ago, you Google yourself every now and then, and all this stuff pops up. Yeah.
I get that. Well, I don't know that personally, but I do understand it. Thank you so much for joining us and talking to us about your work and your journey. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And we're about to take a quick commercial break and bring up the next artist.
Students in the autistic school. I would say the best part was to see their energy. Their energy was absolutely incredible to see the smiles on their faces. It's a shoe in to creating a connection, and it provides so much energy and respect for them to be able to create. I did bring some pieces today, and those pieces are Sister, which is a piece that I painted of one of my babysitters. That memory transcended within inside of me for me to express. Another painting is the power of jazz. There's a lady that's singing in the piece, and she has a red scarf on her head, and she's expressing herself. You can actually feel her singing. You can actually feel the people playing the instruments. Now, I create these non-representational pieces so I can express myself in brushstrokes. It's not a closed structure. So if you were to look at those pieces, you would see that there's a lot of volume that's within the bottom of my soul, deep inside of my soul, that's been shared on canvas.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the 4th annual MLK Junior Legacy Art Walk, and that was just one of the next featured artists, Mr. Frank Kelly Jr. Before we get to him, I did want to read another quote, a final quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It says, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" And he basically just exemplified kind of a little snippet of what he has been doing for others. But before we get into him, just a little bit about him. Mr. Frank Kelly Jr. was born and raised in Northeast Louisiana. Frank has created art centered around rural Louisiana, celebrated jazz and Southern life, along with landscapes and abstracts. Vibrant colors weave their way across trademark rag paper as the master storyteller creates a world where the observer becomes a participant. Frank Kelly Jr.'s paintings interpret real stories motivated by true life situations. He draws upon his deep-rooted moral spirituality, love for art, and zest for life to express himself in various creative styles. His art has been in galleries from South Carolina, Florida, Detroit, New York City, Switzerland, Pennsylvania, and many more. Let's bring up Mr. Frank Kelly Jr. to tell us more.
Well, hello.
Doing?
Fine. How are you?
Doing so good. We just saw a little snippet during the commercial of just your artwork. It's so vibrant. Can you just talk about kind of what inspires you in your artwork?
Well, there's several things. Mostly, I would have to say what I've experienced as a child, from a child to a youth and an adult. And it would be, I guess you would have to say, is my past and my present. Being around so many people who were in my childhood who were just amazing and incredible elders who would share information with me. That alone was just no words can explain. And then on top of that, connecting my spirituality and the content that was shared through 3 different religions, Methodist, Baptist, and Church of God in Christ, and create and becoming diversified as a young age, and so many things in my travels as well. But the love of just seeing things for what they really are is what I try and mostly try to captivate within my work.
Wow. And I know just listening to the earlier commercial, like you really do seek to educate the youth about your art and its importance. Can you talk about just kind of like teaching the youth about art?
Well, in 2011, well, excuse me, 2001, I had the opportunity to go into my school where I was basically started out, and there wasn't any art. And I know from firsthand what art has done for me. Okay. And so going to Grambling State University and getting the opportunity, because I was a walk-on. I did not have art in the elementary nor high school. So, and it was Dr. Chang who gave me an opportunity that I'll never forget. But I knew then that I had to give back to the youth. So from that, I created Youth Arts University program where we focus on math, reading, writing, public speaking, life skill, collaboration, and that sort of thing. And so I combine all that together, and we create this incredible. They create incredible pieces of art, but they also get an opportunity to find out who they really are at a very young age. And that's very important. And once we can overcome those obstacles that they may be having, whether it's personal or whatever, then we can provide opportunities for them to move forward. And a lot of times individuals can't go further because they can't break those barriers. And they can't keep themselves breaking those barriers. So it's very important that we participate and find the right avenue for that alone.
I know sometimes, especially for adolescents, it just takes just a person to kind of pour into them and to kind of bring out things within them that they're just good at. And the arts is definitely something that children gravitate to because sometimes it's something as simple as drawing, writing, singing, the arts of acting. So I do like that you just have a passion and a heart for the youth, and it's shown in your paintings. And I see some behind you. Can you talk a little bit about it? Are you in your studio now?
I am in my gallery / studio.
Okay.
My gallery is FKJ Art Gallery. We're here in West Monroe, Louisiana, and I have behind me I have landscapes, figuratives, and abstracts. Those are the three genres that I paint in. And one of the reasons why I paint so differently, I paint those three genres because I have so many ways that I want to express. I grew up in a rural community, so I want to paint landscapes from that area, which is near and dear to my heart. And then there are people that I enjoy painting. They're figurative, and matter of fact, I'm really happy to say that I did the portrait for Dr. Warwick at Stillman College. If you were to go to her office, you would then see her portrait. Again, then the abstracts came about primarily when I had an illness and I needed to express myself. And I've done that. And I've done that also during the time of this pandemic. And I have 7 pieces here that I think we can show you what those pieces look like. They're abstract, but they're highly textured.
Oh, wow.
And I believe this piece is titled Delusion. Wow. And it's a painting that we typically, it's a feeling. See, red in art to me is warning and danger. Mm-hmm. So there's symbols of color, and I have names for colors the choices that I use. And I primarily use those when I'm painting. Here's another piece. It's an incredible piece. It's titled, I believe it's titled Substance. And this piece is a piece that it's a part of the series of the pandemic. And actually 7 paintings were created, and they're on paper, they're textured,
There's about 15 to 20 layers of paint on each one of these pieces.
Wow. So
behind me,
during the pandemic.
Here is a figurative of my great uncle.
Oh, I love that. Wow.
It's titled Man of Substance.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And his name was Uncle Shep, and Uncle Shep never worked, he never had what you call a job outside of farming. And it was amazing how he was able to take care of his family, a great family man and a spiritual man. He was a steward in the Methodist church who made sure I went to Sunday school every Sunday. Okay. Here is a painting of women of Mali. I did these because I did a painting of this lady. Actually, there's two. Within the family structure in Mali, you have a female who works indoors and you have a female that works outdoors. And they are significant because they're the ones that actually run the household and they do a lot of incredible work to make things happen within their home place. So that was very important to me to express. I come from a very strong background of women as well. Okay. So also the landscape. I want to show you a landscape over here.
Okay.
Of where I'm from. Can you see this?
Let's see. Yes. Hold it up just a little. Wow. How long did it take you from start to finish to complete that?
About 2 months.
Wow.
Because there's layer
beautiful.
on top of layer, and these are acrylics. And so the prep work is very tedious. And then from there, there's layers on top of layers. And so then there's detail within the work. Before I paint, there's prayer and that's involved. I typically have to be primarily in a good mood or in a place to reflect. And this is the actual place from where I'm from. Actually, it's next door to my parents' home where I used to play when I was a child. And yes, I can take photos, but photos do not indicate
justice.
Yes.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
That is beautiful. Is there just one, maybe not one piece of art, that just kind of like once you finish painting that specific artwork that you were like, wow, this is maybe my most prized possession? Would that be one of them?
I would have to say that they all are my babies, but I do understand that we as artisans are it's a form of ministry, and we're to give a message. We're messengers, is what we are, and the work doesn't belong primarily to us. It belongs to someone else. It's supposed to be shared, and by doing so, we don't know when we go into a 4 rooms and paint something that you all are going to appreciate and like. We do it because we're somehow, some way, the message has been given to us to paint it. And there's going to be someone who's going to receive it and appreciate it and want to either they're going to want it in their home place or in their space.
I know there was a comment earlier if we can go back to that comment about someone was thanking you for featuring your artwork in their gallery over 10 years ago. Miss Cheryl Renty, she said, Frank Kelly, master artist, thank you for displaying in my gallery more than 10 years ago. So
Yeah, 10 years ago. That's when they had the Color Purple exhibit there. I was a part of that, which I thought was absolutely incredible. And Cheryl is just an incredible person, and hope to see her soon, someday.
And what would you tell a younger artist who is trying to get to where you are, who maybe doesn't know what they want to paint, whether it's from, their zest for life like you, or maybe they're deeply rooted morals? Like, what would you tell them to find their passion and kind of discovering what to paint?
I would tell them, follow your dream, follow your because it's very important. And not only do I tell children, but I tell anyone that I was one who, I have a business degree and a fine arts degree. And I was in the automobile industry like 15 years, but I painted behind the scenes for 15 years. And I was very unhappy until I started to go into the arts full time, which is now, this is my 20th year.
Wow.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't know if I would be on earth if I had not taken that step. You do what you have been called to do, and it will be the best thing that's ever happened to you in life. But also, go to people, don't guess, and you can't always read, and go to someone who's actually already doing the task that you want to pursue. That's something that we tend to not want to go and ask because of maybe for pride or whatever the case may be, afraid that someone will say no. But don't give up. Be perseverance. You got to fight for what you want. That's basically it.
That is so true. We have another comment, and it says, "Talk to us a little bit about the Aretha Franklin portrait that you did and how that came about."
Well, I was commissioned early in the year, last year, to do a painting for a gentleman, a collector of Aretha Franklin, which was one of his most adored singers. And he wanted that piece to represent the power of her voice and her presence. And I chose a photograph of her. I guess she must have been about maybe in her 30s. And I then made some changes in her clothing. She wore, typically Aretha was flashy, classy ladies, love furs.
Yes,
and so the fur that I was able to create upon her was a wrap. And it was actually gray and white and very distinguished. And it was great. It's probably one of the best portraits I've ever done outside of Dr. Warwick's. I gotta add that in there, right?
Of course you do. We do have another comment from Miss Foxy Brown. She said, "Hi, Frank. You are a gifted artist and a gift to any who possesses an affinity for fine art, showcasing your diverse range, which embraces family, cultural, spirituality, and community."
Well, thank you so much, Foxy. I appreciate that. I try my very best each day when I get up is to focus on the things that are true. And that's the way I try to live my life. Is that I try to represent those who are looking for someone to follow, someone some guidance, because I know the importance of it. I was talking to someone yesterday that remember we used to be the ones that were asking for knowledge and support. Now we're those people that some of us don't want to accept the responsibility, but I am for one that really want to, and I pray to God that I can continue to do this until He calls me home.
That's beautiful. So how can people kind of either one dive deeper into your foundation or just define your artwork itself? How can people do that?
Well, I have a nonprofit which is Educational Arts Initiative Program Incorporated, where we go into nonprofit areas, the Boys and Girls Clubs. We go in areas to support children who need some form of example, some people who need, whatever we possibly can do to help them in their careers, to uplift them, to build their low self-esteem. We have incredible directors, and you can find me. You just Google it. It's Educational Arts Initiative Program. And then my gallery, of course, is FKJ Art Gallery here in West Monroe. We're on 410 North 6th Street in West Monroe. And then also you can find me on Facebook. I have two websites, Frank Kelly, Kelley Jr.com and Frank Kelly Jr. Online.com.
Awesome. I'm sure people will be definitely going to the foundation and also your websites to view your art, because even it seemed like you were very busy during the pandemic. You painted, you said 7 to 8 different portraits. Did any other thing in 2020 kind of impact your art, like from Black Lives Matter or even the first African-American female vice president being elected? Has that been shown or portrayed through your artwork as of late?
Well, I haven't had I came down with COVID. And I haven't really had the time to express myself in terms of the VP and all of that. I'm surely I will later on as time progresses, and that's kind of the person I am anyway. I like to see what's going to go on and happening, and really have a good feel for who Vice President Harris is as the VP, and so I can integrate that within my work instead of and I'm not taking anything away from her. I think this is incredible, but I want to be able to do do it justice by incorporating her legacy.
Awesome. And speaking
of
of
Black Lives Matter, I would have to say that I think I think the voice is needed. I think the world should be told and shown and expressed about things. I'm not a primarily political person, but I am a person who believes in diversity and inclusion. And so and right is right and wrong is wrong. So I believe whatever it is that we all, and I love the fact that it wasn't just, it was inclusive. It wasn't one race or what have you out there standing up for the right thing to do. And for that reason, I have not painted any of that. I'm surely on down the road that will come. Just as it took me a while to paint Hurricane Katrina. I did a piece from that. It was titled, it was a beautiful piece, actually. And that piece belongs to a collector in the Detroit area. So it indicated a gentleman that was out in the areas where people had forgotten during that time period. But those are the type of things that I like to paint. I love painting stories that are meaningful.
Wow. So we have definitely learned like so much from you, just about your knowledge and your zest for life and how it's portrayed in all of your beautiful paintings. And especially the abstract, the wonders of just being outside and you kind of bringing it and showcasing it into a frame. It's so beautiful. Any lasting words that you want to say about the legacy of MLK or this virtual art format that we are doing today?
Well, what's important is that, you know, it's I did a painting which is called Anointed Visionaries, and I want to show it to you, the print. And it's of Dr. King and Harriet Tubman. And I am one that if I can, I like to express my feelings and emotions. But this piece is Dr. King and Harriet Tubman, and Dr. King is speaking. And originally it was a painting of Dr. King. But then I said to myself, you know, I can't, there's no way that I could paint Dr. King and leave out Harriet Tubman. Because without Harriet Tubman, there would be no Dr. King.
That's true.
And so I incorporated the print. And if you're interested in the print, I believe you can go on frankkellyonline.com and you can purchase the print. And I am willing to give Stillman College a percentage of the proceeds as well.
Awesome. I know Stillman College will be very thankful. So you just heard them. If you would like to purchase that artwork, go to frankkellyonline.com to purchase that. And Stillman College will get a portion of the
FrankKellyJr.online.com. Yes.
FrankKellyJr.online.com. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out and talking to us and kind of diving us into your world of artwork. We truly, truly appreciate it, Mr. Kelly.
Well, thank you so much. You've done an extremely great job today.
Thank you so much. And we will take our final commercial break and come back with all of the artists. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Stillman is an HBCU, Alabama, preparing students for a different world. Stillman is a college of distinction for last year and this year. Our largest majors are business and biology, followed closely by psychology, criminal justice, and history for pre-law, communications, English, and religion. Our newest degree programs are in the Department of Computational Sciences, which covers cybersecurity, data analytics, and math. The Biomedical Academy prepares students for competitive entry into health professions and graduate programs. We have established summer biomedical research internships with major research institutions, such as the University of Alabama, Drexel and Temple Universities in Philadelphia, the Salk Institute in San Diego, California, and the universities of Florida, Indiana, and Iowa. We became creative with social distancing and masks for the pandemic. Our students enjoy movie nights at the stadium and the new Melissa and Davis Legacy Courtyard, where you can eat and enjoy friends. We have the Divine Nine Greek letter organizations, student government leadership, and ambassadors. Our small class sizes, nurturing faculty, and friendly environment let you know that Black Lives Matter at Stillman College each and every day. Applications are free. Sign up at discover.stillman.edu. Complete the contact card and apply today. Stillman College, where we prepare students for a different world.
We are bringing the artist back in along with Dr. Warwick. Again, this is the fourth annual MLK Legacy Arts Walk virtually. And you
What's that?
amazing artists today. And we're so pleased to have each and every one of you. Special acknowledgments, of course, to Mr. Tyler Davison. He was the coordinator behind this whole event. Miss Kelly Shannon, that you see there. She's also one of the great coordinators putting this event on. The visionary behind this whole art walk, Dr. Cynthia Warwick. Thank you so much for this vision. And also Mr. Notorio Howard. He created all the graphics and everything that you see here. So thank you to all of the artists for bringing us into your lives of your artwork and letting us see your journey and talking to me and so many others in the audience. And we truly, truly appreciate everybody in the audience for taking the time out to join us on a Saturday to remember the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and how all of these artists are impacted by the current issues of the Black community and what's going on in the world. And we hope to continue this next year, right, Dr. Ward? Awesome. Well, if she has something else to say, we will conclude it, but we'll toss it to Dr. Ward for conclusion.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to all of the sites for our fourth annual MLK Legacy Art Walk. I want to thank the artists. I know Miss St. James had another event scheduled right after her appearance at the Art Walk, and we appreciate her coming on board. But, you know, our artists are from all over, so being able to have them hosted on this venue from California, Texas, Georgia, and Louisiana, it was just amazing. Thank you to our host for doing a great job on interviewing our artists. And thank you for our staff, Miss Kelly Shannon, who's over our art department, and Mr. Tyler Davison, our director of development. They're the ones who organize everything. All I do is say, I want to do this, and let's make the artwork virtual. And then I emailed Miss Shannon and Mr. Davison, and so they made this all happen and reached out to the artists, and they were willing to participate. So I just want to thank everybody again for participating in our recognition of the MLK holiday and the legacy of Martin Luther King, which you artists so prominently shared in your art and in your life and in the activities we talked about today. And so thank you so much for showing the artwork, for sharing your time with us and your expertise. And I just want to thank everybody who was able to come on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube for sharing this time with us today. Thank you again.
And thank you all so much for attending the fourth annual virtual MLK Art Walk. We truly, truly appreciate it. And we hope to see you guys again next year, maybe in person. And thank you again to all of the artists, Mr. Steve Allen, Mr. Frank Fraser, Mr. Frank Kelly, and Miss Cynthia St. James. We truly appreciate you guys taking the time out on this Saturday.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Stay safe.
Black art.
Yes, support the arts.
Yeah, yes.
Remember, buy